So I got up just past 5 this morning and I spent about an hour laying down on a yoga mat on my floor doing stretches and not scrolling my phone, not doing anything else, not working, not doing my growth hour or anything like that, just thinking. Why? Because Ursula K. Le Guin, one of the greatest fantasy and sci-fi authors of all time, said, this is where the magic happens. So I gotta try it, right? For the next 7 days, I'm gonna live basically how she did, according to her ideal writing routine, not everyday reality, because, you know, life. But that basically means I'm going to be waking up at 5:30, I'm going to be writing for 5 hours straight and discovering if her legendary routine can actually help me make some progress on this novel. And hey everyone, welcome back to the Uncharted Studio. If you're new here, hi, I'm Celine, and I'm a writer working on what I hope will be my debut fantasy novel. This video is part of my exploration week, where I take on different challenges and writing routines or other creative routines to see what actually works for me and to hopefully inspire you to try the same and figure out what works for you. Last year, I tried out Brandon Sanderson's writing routine, which you can check out linked up here. Yeah, it was intense. It was structured and very Sanderson and very unlike me. But this year my plan is to tackle a new routine each month, which brings me back to today. And this week I'm spending 7 days following Ursula K. Le Guin's ideal writing routine. And honestly, I'm both excited and terrified. I'm excited because Le Guin is one of my literary heroes. I absolutely loved the Earthsea books, and the way she changed fantasy and writing for women, I mean, she basically changed the world. She was a phenomenal person, and I'm really excited to try out her routine, but I'm also terrified. Not because of waking up at 5:30, that's normal for me, but for writing for 5 hours straight. Now, she would do this every single day, and I just finished my first day of this, and I am even more terrified than I was when I was planning this routine. I didn't want to do this whole verbal spiel before and knock my routine attempt out of balance. So yeah, here we are. And the last 5 hours, well, I did take a 15-minute break, but it was a lot, and I'm kind of living in this moment of existential angst right now. Anyway, before we dive into the week, let me tell you a little bit more about Le Guin and why her routine is worth trying out. Ursula K. Le Guin was one of the most influential fantasy and science fiction writers of the 20th century. She wrote over 20 novels, including The Left Hand of Darkness, The Dispossessed, and the Earthsea series, which I first picked up as a middle schooler when my librarian thought it would be something I'd like. She wasn't wrong, but it was kind of weird to be handed this book and then told there's more. And enjoy. Anyway, Le Guin also wrote dozens of short stories and poetry collections and essays. She won multiple Hugo and Nebula Awards, and in 2014, she was awarded the National Book Foundation Medal for distinguished contribution to American letters. I don't know about you, but I've read quite a few of her books. Not all, not everything, but quite a few. And I still have, I've got The Wind's 12 Quarters and Compass Rose there, waiting to be read this year. It's in my TBR jar. Have you read anything by her? And if so, which are your favorites? Mine is Earthsea, by far. Left Hand of Darkness was brilliant, but just not mine. What I love most about Le Guin isn't her incredible stories, which, yes, they are incredible. It's how she thought about writing as a craft. She famously said, if all I had was a chisel and a rock, I would write on the rock. She believed that tools didn't matter, that routines weren't magical, and that the only way to learn how to write well was by writing badly for a really long time and staying committed to the work. And I agree with that. I agree that we need to write and stay committed to writing in order to write well, hopefully, eventually. She also believed in the power of routine, not because it somehow made her magically a genius, but because it created the space for her unconscious mind to do its work. And that's what makes her routine so interesting, is she allowed a lot of time for thinking, she allowed a lot of breathing room for her creativity to do its work, and she tried to create the structure that would allow her to enter flow state. So, about her routine. Let's get specific. In 1998, she gave an interview where she described her ideal writing day in detail. And when I say ideal, her son Theo later clarified that this was her goal, it was her dream, but it wasn't always her reality. Life interrupted, kids needed care, circumstances changed, but when she could, this was the kind of routine she aimed for. At 5:30, she would wake up and lie in bed thinking for about 45 minutes. Not planning, not worrying, just letting her mind wander in that liminal space between sleep and waking. At 6:15, she would get up and eat a big breakfast. She specifically mentioned needing lots of fuel because writing just takes a lot out of her. And her favorite was soft-boiled eggs. And she loved it so much that she actually wrote an entire essay about how to properly soft-boil an egg. And I find that really, really amusing. Now, I'm vegan, so I'm not going to be eating soft-boiled eggs, but I really love that she felt so passionate about something like this to write a whole essay about it. If anything, this is a big breakfast. 7:15, she would start writing. And she would write until noon. That's almost 5 hours of focused writing time. Whew. Noon was her lunchtime. And then from 1 to 3, she would listen to music and read. From 3 to 5, maybe she'd do some light house cleaning, and she was very casual about this. And she might also do other work like respond to her correspondence. At 5, she would start making dinner, and at 6, she would eat dinner. And then after 8, and I loved this, she said she tended to be very stupid, and we won't talk about this. At 10:30, she would go to bed, aim to be asleep, so she'd be ready to go for the next day. Now, here's what's really important about this. Le Guin didn't set word count goals. She didn't aim for 1,000 words or 2,000 words a day. She committed time. She showed up at 7:15 and stayed until noon. Whatever happened in that time was progress. Why? Because she understood that writing happens in a flow state, and she wanted to create the circumstances where she could show up and allow that flow state to come. She described it as this kind of trance, which isn't pleasant or anything like that, because writing is hard work. It's challenging, but by showing up at the same time every day, the ritual became automatic, and that's how flow state became more accessible. The morning time was also very crucial for her because that's when she felt most in touch with her unconscious and felt most able to perform creatively, most able to show up on the page. That liminal space between sleep and waking, that's where her imagination lived. That's how she was able to just imagine all these extremely different worlds in which human truths could, well, I'll let you judge her writing for yourself. She also said that an artist can go off into the private world they create and maybe not be so good at finding the way out again. This could be one of the reasons I've been grateful for having a family and doing housework and the stupid, ordinary stuff that has to be done that you cannot let go of. The mundane stuff, you know, the eggs, the house cleaning, the dinner prep, these things kept her grounded. The routine created space for magic, and then the ordinary tasks brought her back to earth every day, so she could be present with her family. So that's the routine I'm gonna follow for the next 7 days. And I'll be honest, I'm nervous. I've already done today, and that's 1 out of 7 done. I already wake up between 5 and 6 naturally, so that part's okay, but the 5 hours of writing, yeah. I thought I was ready for this. I was not prepared. All right, well, it's a little bit past 7:15. When Le Guin normally starts her routine. I had some technical difficulties, of course. But anyway, I'm going to write and then see how far I get. So I'm gonna just get on with it because that's just part of it, right? Writing for almost 5 hours. I didn't think I was gonna feel intimidated by this, but right now, staring down the many hours I have ahead with my story, I am feeling quite intimidated. We'll see. Maybe this will be great. I literally just wrote the 2 sides are bridged by so many bridges. I think I ate way too much. Oh. My brain is sluggish. Waking up this morning at 5:30, well, before I woke up earlier, was fine. That's totally normal. I actually had my alarm go off while I was already in my studio. I chose not to stay in bed and use that time for thinking. Instead, I came over here and did gentle stretches while thinking and letting my mind wander, because that's just much better for me in my chronic illnesses. I ate way too much for breakfast. I felt so sluggish after having such a big breakfast. Writing with no word count goal felt weird. I kept wanting to check my word count tracker on Scrivener to see how many words I had gotten done, but I'm holding off on doing that, and we can do it together on Sunday so I can just see everything in one go. Instead, I'm only tracking time. So here we've got, I don't know if this is in focus, we've got when I started, when I finished, when I took a break, and that's all I'm going to track instead. So for the rest of the afternoon, I have work to do. I actually have to even nip out and go deal with some paperwork stuff. I have emails to reply to. I have content to create. I have a lot of stuff to do that isn't as restful and filling the well as Ursula Le Guin's afternoon. I'm gonna try to stick to, this 1 hour lunch break, and then to do the correspondence time and the reading time and such. And of course, I'm going to try to get to bed early. But we'll see. We'll see. I think while making this routine test, I am very much going to be experiencing both ideal days, according to her, and less ideal days where life just gets in the way. I know I have doctor's appointments this week. I have meetings. I have all sorts of work to do. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I think this is going to be fun. Maybe. So Le Guin stops writing at noon and she makes lunch. I had to go out for a meeting. I ate lunch a bit later. I did have lunch, so at least I did that one. Then she normally listens to music and reads from 1 to 3. I had work to do, so I haven't done any of that yet. She does some house cleaning and is really casual about that from 3 to 5. I continued working. And then she makes dinner at 5 and eats dinner at 6. It is now 6:16 and I haven't started making dinner. So that's okay. Life does interfere, and she says that herself. And that's it. I'm going to go make dinner and I'm going to read and I'm going to be comfy and cozy for the rest of the night. I am done being in my studio. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Hey guys, what's up, baby? It's 10 to 10 and I am exhausted. It was raining all night, which means our dog, who is terrified of thunderstorms, kept waking us up and then getting up at 5:30. And I've been writing since, where's my note? Since 7:15. I took a 15-minute break to make hot cocoa, but I am so tired. And I know that Le Guin had a day bed in her office that she would use to nap from when needed, according to her son, Theo. And I am so tempted to go take a nap. it feels like today's going okay. I figured out my voice problems that I was having yesterday, and I'm in the first scene. I'm still not convinced this should be the first scene of the book, but it's the first scene of the story that I'm writing, and it's fine. I feel like I'm able to weave in a lot of the threads for the subplots and everything. But I'm just really tired. I also think it's probably because I was working yesterday after having written for so long, so I didn't have much time to refill my creative well. So today's just feeling a bit tougher than yesterday did. I still have, well, it's now 8 to 10. So this was about a little 2-minute interjection. But I still have 2 hours to go. So I'm going to see how far I can get. And if I really need a nap, then I'm going to be like Ursula and take a nap. I mean, for her, like, writing and the unconscious and dreaming and sleeping were all so closely interlinked that maybe this can be part of the process. Yeah, okay, that's it. Today isn't happening anymore. It's 11:15 and I'm just done. I'm feeling a flare up. My whole body is just rebelling because last night was terrible for sleep. So I'm done. I'm gonna do the rest of Le Guin's day. And I was really hoping that today would have been one of those ideal writing days, following her routine perfectly. But I guess life had other plans, so I'm gonna go read and rest and make lunch at noon and then read some more, and then I have some work I need to do this afternoon, so hopefully I'll be more energetic and do that during her correspondence hour, plus my video goes live because it's Tuesday. And yeah, that's it for today. Hi, buddy. Today is a day of constant interruptions. I'm trying to sink into the scene because I'm writing one of the introductory scenes of the novel, and my partner was flying out, so we had a little bit of in and out because of that. I'm going to head to the doctor shortly, and then I have a lot of care responsibilities, so today is, an imperfect day, not an ideal writing day according to Le Guin. I've noticed that so far, well, at least for yesterday and the day before, I wrote better from 7 to, 7:15 to 9 than I did later on in the second block of the day. The first block was always much, much more, had more output, and it felt better as well. I think that's probably because I'd spend the morning thinking about the scene, mulling it over, going through it in my mind, and then I'd write it, and then I'd finish up to the point that I had thought through, and then, what next? So, yeah, I noticed that pattern. I'll see if it continues for the rest of the week. Gosh, guys, it's Thursday. It's 10:20 on a Thursday, and I'm so exhausted. I'm so tired. This has been way more draining than I was expecting. I thought, you know what,
I'll be getting to bed early. I'll be eating properly. Everything will be fine. I am getting to bed early. I am eating properly. Everything is not fine. I am so tired. Like, so tired. I was not expecting how much writing for almost 5 hours is gonna cost me. Like, yeah. I mean, okay, for sure it doesn't help that I have work in the afternoons, right? But like life. Yeah. I tried to stick to her afternoon routine of invigoration, I don't know, of recovery, whatever, as closely as possible. But I do have stuff I need to do, so that's fine. But I'm so tired. I'm so tired. I don't know. My Aura Ring thinks that I am super well rested and recovering well because I'm sleeping way longer than normal, but I'm just, exhausted. So I have another hour and 40 minutes to go. And I feel like I'm writing like a robot. Like I'm not fleshing things out fully. I'm not immersed in the world. And that's not my usual writing style. I mean, the last thing I wrote, the stables were at the border of the Rookhaven campus and the town, so seeing someone on their horse in the Arcanum was an exceedingly rare occurrence. Like, meh. But anyway, I mean, that's okay. That may be not so crap compared to the rest of it. But yeah, I'm so tired. So I'm going to check in again at noon in an hour and 40 minutes more of writing. Oh my gosh. Okay, I take it all back. I take it all back. Every single thing I said. I'm not tired anymore. I am in full flow. I'm loving this. I'm so excited. I just finished the opening of the book, basically. No idea how many words in, but it's the opening of the story. And I'm really excited. Like, after my last little rant, I just sank into it. I tapped into the story. I tapped into the world. It was all visual and very evocative and everything. And I finished that bit. And now it's basically noon. So that's it for today. And I'm going to come back to this tomorrow. But I'm really excited. Like, it was really good. So I feel like maybe two options: either take a nap when I'm so tired, and I know that Guin had a daybed in her study, and she believed that the imagination and sleeping, sorry, that's the word. Maybe I am still really tired. But anyway, she believed that the imagination and sleeping were super closely linked, and that being in that sort of liminal state was helping her with her creativity and with coming up with all these worlds. So option one is to take a nap during the 5-hour stint, or to power through it, depending, I guess, on the day. It's Thursday, so I have Friday, Saturday, Sunday left to do. I know Saturday is going to be another weird day with my experiment, but I'm really excited. Like, this was fun. And I love it when writing is fun and when writing flows and when it feels ominous. And I know I just planted the flag of where I am right now, and I see the rest of the flags ahead of me, but I'll need to just go grab them and plant those each. And I'm happy. I'm happy with my progress today. Even though earlier I was like, oh my gosh, this is deadly. I'm gonna die. This is terrible. Yeah. Maybe overreacted a little bit too early there.
So now I'm gonna finish. I'm reading the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin while filming this. And it too had a very slow start, but once I sank into it, I just loved it. So maybe there's a bit of a parallel there. So I'm gonna go make lunch, I'm gonna read, I'm gonna have a cozy day, and tonight is just gonna be very chill, cozy time. Yeah. All right, bye. I am so tired, and today, in the last 2 hours, I've written maybe 2 paragraphs. I've been staring at a blank page and just, I don't know. I mean, I'm spending longer throughout this week. I've spent longer in my story world than I normally do. But I'm just exhausted. This is so draining. I was not expecting it at all, not to be like this. It's, I've got 2 hours left. Roughly it's 9, 10, 11. Wait, 3 hours left. Anyway, I've got 3 hours left of writing today. Hopefully I'll get more done. But I'm just so tired. I'm so tired. Amusingly enough, my candle is about to sputter out. And I feel like that's how I am. Like this is some sort of symbol of my writing energy. Just barely clinging on. It's Saturday and I'm done for today, and today was good, like way better than yesterday. And I feel like it's probably because yesterday I threw in the towel at around 10:30 or something, and said I had enough and took a break for the rest of the day. And yeah, sure, I did some work and stuff, but other than that, I read and I colored and I went and played paddle and exercised and just had a much less creatively draining day. So today I had all this energy and all these ideas when approaching my draft, so that felt really good. I'm looking forward to being done with this experiment. I think, I'm sitting here thinking, yeah, okay, one more day and we're done. So I'm looking forward to going back to my normal structured boundaried sessions of 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off. Every 25 minutes or so, I naturally find myself itching to get up and do something, get up and go get a drink, get up and go pet the dog or whatever. So I think maybe that's the structure that works for me. I think probably one of the key takeaways I have right now is that I'm just going to keep writing and stop judging it, because I'm making changes to the story, to the plot structure and everything. I'm following those signposts that I have, but I'm making changes along the way that I feel are making the characters much more real, much more, much easier to relate to, I think is a good way to put it. So I'm doing all that, and then I should just keep focusing, make it real first, make it perfect later. Make it real first, make it perfect later. I keep telling myself the same thing over and over again. Yeah, so that's it for today. I'm done. I'm gonna go make some lunch, I'm gonna eat, I'm gonna read, I'm gonna go play paddle again, I'm gonna take it easy for the rest of the day and be back here tomorrow for my absolute last day trying out Ursula Le Guin's ideal day routine. Yeah, this is exciting. It's almost done. I'm glad I stuck with it to a greater or lesser extent, but we'll see how I feel about all this tomorrow. See you then. That's it. I'm done. I'm done with a week of writing like Le Guin and following her ideal writing routine as closely as possible, considering I still had work and life and all the other stuff coming in the way. It was a lot. Like, it really was a lot. It was a lot more than I was expecting. It was a lot more draining than I was expecting, but I'm really happy. I'm really happy I got to this point. I felt like I got, probably my best writing was between 9 and 10:30 on each day. I felt the most in flow on those days, which is a great pattern to realize, because then I know that maybe that's the time that I need to protect the most for my writing. Some days were a much bigger struggle than others. Like Friday was horrible. I could not do anything, and I wonder how that's gonna be reflected in my word count. And without further ado, let's dive into the numbers. Let's see, this week I wrote for 4 hours, 25 minutes on Monday, 3 hours on Tuesday, 3 hours 45 on Wednesday, 3 hours 25 on Thursday, 2:45 on Friday, 4 on Saturday, and 2.5 today, which brings me to a total of 23 hours and 50 minutes this week, which is a lot more than what I normally do. But I'm really happy with my progress. I got through basically the entire, almost the entire opening of the novel. And I've got like 3 or 4 more scenes before I get into the inciting incident. And that's exciting. Let's see now how that translates into word count. Because I have no idea how that's gonna relate. Project writing history. I love that Scrivener has this feature. It's fantastic. I have 20,692 words in my draft. But that's minus 2,261 and 1,576 that I had from last week. And then I have another 3,606 words in notes for the novel from this week. So, I mean, that almost balances out the stuff from last week. So that kind of puts me at 20,000 words written this week, which is insane. But that's actually like quite crazy. Yeah, that's actually quite crazy. Wow. Yeah, 20,000 words in 7 days. Okay. So the only days really where the increased time led to many more words were Monday and Tuesday, but also a lot of those words were in my notes, were from my notes. So I think that's a pretty stable yield. It's almost like around the 2K mark is my cap, 2.5K mark is my cap for a day, no matter how long I put into it. So yeah, in general, this routine was never about the output though, even though I'm very satisfied that I've made a dent into my novel, and that's what it was about. It was about taking a leap and making a start into this draft and seeing where this takes me, struggling through and just going with it. So whether this approach actually helped me as a writer, yes and no. I don't feel like I had as many big realizations as I did with Sanderson, but probably my biggest is that the thinking time and visualizing the scene and getting mentally into the story before writing helped. Because when I would do that, when I would spend time exploring the world, exploring the conversations the characters were going to have, I felt it was a lot easier to then transfer those things from my imagination onto the page. So probably that's going to be my biggest takeaway, is maybe before my writing sessions, if I'm walking the dog or doing something, I'll take some time to visualize the scene and get in the right headspace. I think my biggest struggle was just writing for 5 hours. I didn't write for 5 hours straight on any of the days. I couldn't do it. It was so draining. And the longer I spent on the day before, the more I struggled on the day after, especially if on the day before I had a lot of work to do or a lot of other responsibilities that were draining. Yeah, as the experiment progressed, I was just getting more and more tired, more and more depleted. So 5 hours is not for me at this stage. Maybe it's something you need to build up the stamina for, but I don't have the stamina for it right now. What else am I going to take forward with me from this? I like the time-based approach. I was already kind of doing that with my Pomodoros, but I think just giving myself the freedom to pause and not feel like I'm being chased by a timer was very helpful, so that I can just find the right word rather than write, XXX, name this person here, and then have to fix that in the next draft. In general, I feel like Le Guin's routine taught me that writing is about showing up. It's about putting the time in and getting the words as a result, rather than, magically waiting for things to happen. It's about committing to a rhythm even when things are hard. She said that the goal is not to write a masterpiece or a bestseller. The goal is to be able to look at your story and say, yeah, this is as good as I can make it. So this week, I feel like I made progress. I showed up. Yes, it's not as good as I can make it yet, but it's getting created, and that's the first step. And yeah, I'm so exhausted, but I'm also really proud. I'm proud to have tried this out. I'm proud to have made it through 7 days of writing like Le Guin. And we'll see. Next month, I'm going to be taking on the legendary Stephen King's routine. So that's going to be another unique and interesting approach in its own way. So if you're interested in that, stick around, subscribe. And I've also done Brandon Sanderson's routine, which I'm going to link up here for you in case you're curious about watching that. But for now, I'm just grateful. I'm grateful for Le Guin. I'm grateful for her process. I'm grateful for her writing that has inspired generations of writers and has transformed so much in literature. And I'm grateful that she's reminded me that writing is both a little bit of magic and a heck of a lot of work. And that's it. That's it for this week's exploration. If you're a writer or a creative and you've tried any of these routines in the past, let me know how they worked for you. Let's commiserate and share our thoughts and war stories in the comments below. And if you have any routines that you think I should try, I'm always open to suggestions. I'd love to hear what you think. Thank you so much for watching this, and thank you to Ursula K. Le Guin for the inspiration. I'll see you next week for our January wrap-up. Happy writing!